If there is one thing that governs our sense of self, meaning self-worth and self-love, the parameters of our own boundaries, our ability for intimate relationships, sexuality, the way we perceive this world and move through it in our own reality, then it is our emotions and our emotional body. Unfortunately, especially the emotional body is something that is not given much attention and the respect to that it deserves. If we look through this world collectively, we will see that most difficult relationships, whether they are our intimate partners, our family members or friends, even at work, often stem from unprocessed emotional wounds that were never allowed to be truly heard and felt by us. Emotions, aka energy in motion, are literally stuck energy in our body. Whenever we feel unease about something, it is an emotion that is trapped somewhere. It might be in your chest, in your throat, in the neck, lower back, whatever that sensitive area in your body is that stores it. As emotional beings, we are meant to experience this world through our sensory perception, meaning through our 5 senses. But we are not supposed to identify ourselves with them. Emotions cannot be truly processed when we are associating ourselves with being that emotion. They are meant to be worked through our body and to be released. And this happens when our emotions meet our awareness, which is beyond our 5 senses. Our brain stores memories chronologically, meaning that we can consciously remember when we had our first kiss, when we passed or didn't pass our driver's license. These are memories that we have stored and we can call upon every single time. Then there are memories that are stored in our subconscious, aka in our emotional body, that we can necessarily not recall. For example, when you took your first breath, you wouldn't most likely remember that, but your mom would. So when our brain can chronologically remember events, it only remembers the actual event, that thing that happened. What makes that event good or bad, traumatic or exciting, is our emotional attachment to that event. This is where judgment comes in, where wounds come from, and where our distorted perception can stem from. If you look at little babies, yes, they cannot communicate verbally with their caretakers. However, they express their emotional range fully and never feel bad with how they really feel. And then observe a 7-year-old, a 12-year-old, and you will already see strong signs of emotional suppression and perhaps even traumatic responses, therefore, due to their conditioning and upbringing, that showing and expressing certain emotions are deemed as inappropriate, childish. This is one of the reasons that we have started to disown what is really going on inside of us. And no matter how old we become and how much we mature mentally in our experiences, the emotional pain body remembers. That's why often you can see grown-up men and women, whether in real life or on TV, acting out from their emotional body, which means they can be 50, 55-year-old, but carry the emotional body of a 5-year-old or 10-year-old inside of them. We need to remember that our emotions are energy, and energy needs to move. When it is stuck in our body, it causes all kinds of automatic responses from our sides, but especially really a decrease in our overall well-being. That's why most of us are wearing masks. And I'm not talking about the protection diapers we are all currently having to wear, but I'm talking about our persona masks. If you really want to create healthier relationships and the life that you deserve and desire, and especially if you want to live in a state of inner joy and peace, you have to deal with your shit. There is no way out. If you're just hoping for emotions to miraculously disappear, then this is always going to be a battle that you will lose. Whatever is stored in our body will be constantly brought back up to our attention through our triggers. Your triggers are the best and most important signs for something within you that hasn't been really released and healed yet. In psychological terms, we call that repetition compulsion, meaning it is the urge to be faced with our constant negative patterns and inner emotional wounds so that we can become aware of them, accept them, and release them. The problem we are often facing in our lives that everything that we do, we on a subconscious level do in order to avoid feeling pain. But whether you are focusing on the pain itself or focusing on avoiding to ever experience that pain again, your focus is still on the same thing, which is the pain. Dealing with our emotions and our emotional wounds is not a one-off job. It is rather a process that we are going to do throughout our lives. Whatever I am telling you, it's not coming from some fancy books that I have read, but really through personal experience of what works and what doesn't. When I lost my mom back then due to cancer, I literally had to learn to deal with the heavy and very independent and surprising emotion of grief, because grief has a life on its own. It's not something that we can control at all. And instead of me suppressing what I feel and just going on with my life, I literally allowed myself on a daily basis to be real with what I feel, to experience that pain, and to allow it to be processed through my body. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. But no matter what happened, I always chose to be sovereign, meaning to live in a state as much as possible with what is happening in our lives of inner peace. And because I have so much self-respect and self-love, and because I knew this is what my mom would have wanted for me as well, I wanted to be able to really deal with that entire situation. So it is not about dealing with it once or twice, but as we evolve and as we grow, so will also our experiences expand and change. And as such, it is not about doing it once and finishing it off, but it's about learning to move through life, to experience life through our emotions, to own them, to express them in a healthy way. And we can only do that by really looking at the emotion itself, taking ourselves out of it and observing it, which is a hard thing to do if we have never done this, because nobody has taught us this. And if you're feeling some kind of uneasy emotion right now, I want you to really tune into your body and feel where it is stored, in what part. And then just tune into this emotion and allow yourself to feel it. When you feel resistance towards it, that's already the first sign that you should dig deeper. And then you start moving that energy of emotion with your breath, meaning you inhale into it and you release it through your exhale. And you do that over and over and over again. Your emotion is here. And then your awareness, rather than your mind who is trying to judge and control that emotion, is going to meet it. And then the internal process of elevating in your consciousness, of integrating that experience, of learning from it, can take its natural course. How you meet this emotion is everything. It can either create magic or it can create inner destruction. The more challenging an emotion is, like grief or emptiness or loneliness, the more challenging that process will be. Nevertheless, allow yourself to go through this. This process is so crucial because when we accept all of our emotions, especially the negative ones that we deem to be bad and evil, then this is the deepest act of self-love that we can give ourselves, because you are meeting yourself at your deepest, most vulnerable point. So we are moving from rejection to acceptance. And at this point, huge transformation can occur in your life. And there is really no better feeling than living your life out of pure authenticity of who you truly are, by owning all of you, really all of you. It's not about how well you feel. It's about how well you can meet yourself in how you feel. And if you would like your own personal transformation, I would like to invite you to my 2-hour webinar taking place on 21st of August 2021 from 7 to 9 p.m. GST time, where we are going to go through an emotional release process. And there is magic and power when a group does it together. This one is going to be for ladies only, sensual alignment, moving from control to feminine trust. But I will do another one just for the gentlemen, which is going to come up shortly. Sending you all so much love and hope to see you online. Mwah.